Hey y'all. Today I'm going to be potting up a couple of flower pots that'll be for, well, it'll be for spring in the beginning, and then of course the evergreens will, stay in the pots on through the rest of the year. But I wanted to show y'all this is a perfect example of why shopping for clearance items toward the end of your season, the end of summer, because they clearance plants all during the year, depending on what type of plants they are. But you also, can keep on the lookout for, once you see bulbs in the store, um, they'll clearance those as well, on over once, the season is nearing the end and they're wanting to get rid of them later in the fall. And so I actually bought uh, these bulbs right before Christmas, like a week or so before Christmas. Now, with that being said, the tulips in my zone, because, I'm in zone 7, well, 7B/8A, and because of that, the tulips, most people who want a big tulip display, they a lot of times will just treat them as an annual, because while you will get tulips to come back each year, they're just not going to be as pretty as, you're not going to have as many blooms, and they're not going to be as big most of the time as they would if they get the cold stratification that they need, which is 8 to 12 weeks. Now, you can get away with, a little under that, but if you want them to be, big and vibrant and, you know, pretty the way they're supposed to be, then you're going to need, if you're in a warmer zone like me, you really need to put them like in the refrigerator or somewhere where they can stay consistent, cold temperature for at least 8 weeks. And so these are not going to get that because, like I said, I bought them a week before Christmas. We're already almost a week into January, and so I just don't have time. And so, but I'm going to go ahead and plant them up, and I'm going to get some blooms. I will get, quite a few blooms, and they'll be pretty. Um, and so that's what I'm going to do. And after they bloom and the leaves die down, you can dig the bulbs out and, get off as much of the dirt as you can. Let them dry out just a little bit. And then you can bag them in paper bags and put them in a drawer in your refrigerator. You want to wait and do that toward the end of summer. And then get them planted, late fall, early winter, uh, if you're in a warmer zone. But anyways, everything you see here is clearance items. Um, the trees here, I got those. I don't know, a few days ago actually. And these pots, they actually came from Tractor Supply, and they were also on clearance after Christmas. Several days after Christmas, maybe a week after Christmas, because I've only had these a few days. And then the pot and soil, it also was a clearance item at Walmart at the end of summer in the late fall. This is the big bag, the 2 cubic foot, and they had marked these down to $5 a bag, and they had a whole pallet of them, and I bought several because they, are like 10 to $12, around $12, something like that during the growing season. So every item here is a clearance item. So it's only going to cost, a few dollars really to pot up each one of these pots. I was trying to look for the price. I think these pots were $2.39 on clearance is what they were. see here. $2.39 on clearance is what they were. And so Steven got several of them. There was this color and black. And the black ones still have a plug in the bottom, which these do too. You have the option to pop the plug out anyways, which I will be doing. But they were the same price. And so I want to say he bought 4 of each or 5 of each. Anyways, like I said, it's just going to cost a few dollars to pot up these pots. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do, there's 30 bulbs in each one of these tulip bags. And, of course, I didn't pay $12 a bag. They were only a few dollars each when I got them. And the hyacinth, they also need, about 8 weeks of cold, consistent cold. Again, I don't have time to do that. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is just mix these. Now, sometimes hyacinth, I have them come back. They're not as pretty as the first year as I planted them. They don't get as big, but they're still fragrant and they're still pretty. So, next year, these may, if I decide to dig these out and, later in the season and put them in their fridge, then I may end up planting those in the ground in the fall. Or I may just go ahead and put them in the ground once I take them out of the pots. We'll see. But what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these trees, and these are the dwarf Alberta spruce. And I have a few of these already that are planted in the landscape. And they're a slow grower, so I could actually keep these in pots for several years if I wanted to. I don't know that I will do that. But these were half off. So about $8 a piece is what I paid for those on clearance. And so what I'm planning on doing is putting those in, one in each pot, and then planting some tulips and some hyacinths around both. There's not as many hyacinths in each bag. There's only 12 in each bag of those. And so I'm going to get started planting them, and I'll kindly just figure out how many I'm going to plant of each as I'm going. But I think I'm going to mix the peach colored ones with the yellow and orange. I think that would be pretty. And then whatever I decide to do with the mixed bag, they may just go somewhere completely different. Since I don't know what colors they're going to be. And so let me get this started and show y'all how I'm going to do this. Okay. I've got the pots full of dirt. Now, this is a little tip that maybe you've seen and maybe you haven't. you can take your pot that you're going to be planting something out of, and you can stick it down in here and kindly level this out. And then when you get ready to pull this out of the pot, it's going to go right in. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. The sun is not working to my advantage today. And see, it's the perfect fit already. So let me go ahead and do this other one. There we go. Now I just got to figure out how many tulips I want to put per pot here. And like I said, I think I'm going to mix them with the hyacinths. There's 12 of the hyacinths. So I could do 2 bags and do 3 around each one. And let me show y'all something. These tulips are already starting to try to sprout. Which they were. Look at that. Now we're fixing to get some cold weather. So hopefully that keeps them from coming on up. We'll see. Well, I think I'm just going to plant them in like groups of 3s. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. And I think with the hyacinths, I love hyacinths because they're so fragrant in the springtime. And these are big bulbs. Actually, they're good sized bulbs. That one's got a bad spot on it, but I'm going to plant it anyways. They are also trying to sprout, if you can see that. And I'm going to plant these in 3s as well. Look at the roots on that one. Wow. So we'll just see what ends up happening. Because most of these tulips already have a good sprout on them. But I think it'll be okay. So let me get these potted in here and then I'll bring y'all back. I wanted to show y'all, I ended up going back and adding another tulip to each area that I had placed tulips. So they're going to be in like little groups of 4, with the hyacinth being in little groups of 3s. And so now I'm going to just finish covering them up, and then I'll move on to the next pot. Then I moved on to the second pot. And I forgot to mix them. So the first pot is just going to have the peach tulips. And this second pot is going to have the peach and yellow. I mean, orange and yellow, excuse me. Or maybe it's yellow and red. It's kind of hard to tell on that pot. I mean, on that pack. Some of these hyacinths don't look too great. So, I mean, they're sprouting, but they've got, some of them's got like moldy spots on them. So we'll see if these do any, do any good. Like I said, they're sprouting, so we'll see. I'm gonna swap that one. I tried to do 2 purple bulbs and a white with a hyacinth. And so some of these tulips have 2 sprouts. Look at, because it has a little bulb beside of it. Well, that one's filled up. Now I'm just gonna top it with my dirt here, and I still had several bulbs left over especially from each pack of the tulips. So I'll get to figure out somewhere else to put those. And I have more pots that already have soil in them that I may just pop some in. And that way I have a pretty good show if the majority of them come up and bloom. It should be very pretty in the spring, early spring, because tulips will bloom pretty early, which is why I didn't really have time to pop them in the fridge for a few weeks. So there we go. And I'll show y'all where I end up putting these pots. Well, this is where I decided to put them for now. I don't know that they're going to stay here. This is an entryway to a walkway that actually leads from the carport all the way around to the other side of the house, to the screened-in porch and the ponds. But for right now, this is where they're going to go. Like I said, they're probably not going to stay here. The trellises that you see in these 2 pots, they're not going to stay there either. But I had ordered them and they came during the holidays, and I needed to get them out of the carport. So I just stuck them in the pots, but they're probably going to go in the ground somewhere. It's just so cold right now. You really ain't wanting to do a whole lot, or I'm not, in the yard, especially, of course it's good to get outside and get some sun, even if, you're not doing a whole lot of work. I've got plenty to do. I've not done any of the fall cleanup other than mowing up and mulching up a couple of times of the leaves that fell, but I've got a ton of leaves that still need to be mulched up. All of the perennials and grasses and all that stuff needs to be cut back. So I may make some videos in a few weeks doing some cleanup. I've also got to do some seed starting in a few weeks. I don't know. I've got lots of videos coming. And so, but yeah, I think I'm going to really like these 2 pots, like I said, even if they don't stay in this area. And I'm going to have to do a couple more pots because I had plenty enough tulips, and those hyacinths have to be planted because they're starting to get some mold on them. I'm going to estimate I probably have now about $15 in each pot, and that covers everything. The pot, the soil, the two different kinds of bulbs, and the $8 trees. So I think that's pretty budget friendly. And now, while I don't do everything on a budget, if I can save some money, and have something that I'm really going to enjoy, then, why not do that? Uh, and, $8 a pot, I mean, less than maybe around $15 a pot, I think it's a pretty good deal. And I think these are really going to be pretty in the spring. So if you run across bulbs, even if they need a cold stratification period, and you're not going to be able to give it to it this late in the season, and you can get the bulbs for just a couple dollars, a few dollars, go ahead and pick them up and throw them in a pot or somewhere in the ground, and enjoy them in the spring because you will get blooms, and then they'll be pretty. And so I guess that's it. Until next time. Bye.